What's up, y'all? My name is Dan. So, Aeromexico is the flag carrier of Mexico and the second largest airline in the country, behind Volaris, as well as the largest international airline in the country and the oldest active airline in Mexico at the moment since 2010 when Mexicana collapsed. Aeromexico's main hub is Mexico City's Benito Juarez International Airport. It works well thanks to Mexico City being the capital and main business hub in Mexico, which is very helpful for the airline's operations because Aeromexico heavily depends on business and premium demand, especially being the only full-service airline in Mexico. Although it has a few flights out of the other cities, it doesn't compare to its operations in Mexico City. Aeromexico was the second largest domestic airline in Mexico until Viva Aerobus aggressively climbed past Aeromexico in 2021, leaving it in third place. Aeromexico flies to 42 domestic destinations from Mexico City and 2 from Guadalajara as of 2022. Aeromexico flies 13 routes to the United States and Canada from Mexico City, as well as 6 from Guadalajara and 4 from Monterrey to the US. Mexico City also has 2 destinations in the Caribbean and 6 in Central America, as well as 7 destinations in South America, plus Cancun to Sao Paulo Guarulhos. Our Mexico's transatlantic flights are Mexico City to Madrid, Paris, Barcelona, Amsterdam, and London Heathrow, as well as Monterrey and Guadalajara to Madrid, while Aeromexico's trans-Pacific flights are from Mexico City to Tokyo Narita and Seoul Incheon. Aeromexico has an extensive fleet of aircraft, composed of 43 Embraer E190s operated by Aeromexico Connect, 5 Boeing 737-700s that seem like they're going to be retired soon, 36 Boeing 737-800s, 23 Boeing 737 MAX 8s, 6 Boeing 737 MAX 9s, 8 787-8s, and 10 of the 787-9s. They also have orders for 17 more 737 MAXs and another 4 Boeing 787-9s. The Embraer E190s are mainly used for Aeromexico's lower demand regional operations in Mexico, including some longer flights as far as northwest Mexico. It's also used for some international routes to the US, Central America, and the Caribbean, as well as most of Monterrey's hub operations. The 737-800s and the MAX 8s are mostly used for routes inside of Mexico, as well as most US and Canada operations and a few flights to Central and South America. The recently delivered Boeing 737 MAX 9s are mostly used for some of the busiest domestic routes from Mexico City, such as Cancun, Tijuana, Monterrey, and Guadalajara, although it might get expanded to some busy international flights sometime soon. The Boeing 787-8 and 9 are mainly used for Aeromexico's long-haul operations to South America, Europe, and Asia, as well as the busiest short-haul routes such as New York JFK, Los Angeles, Cancun, Tijuana, and Bogota. Aeromexico is one of the founding members of the SkyTeam Alliance, along with Delta, Air France, and Korean Air. Later on, more airlines joined the alliance, and Aeromexico formed codeshare partners with airlines that are part of the alliance, and also some that aren't part of it. Some codeshare partners include Air France, KLM, Virgin Atlantic, and Air Europa that provide connections in Europe and beyond. Avianca, Copa Airlines, Aerolíneas Argentinas, and LATAM that expand Aeromexico's connectivity in Latin America. Other airlines include WestJet, which includes connections in Canada, while Japan Airlines and Korean Air provide connections in Asia, among other airlines that I did not mention. The Mexico US market is very important for Aeromexico and one of the busiest international markets in the world. So Aeromexico has a joint venture with its majority shareholder Delta Airlines to enhance their cross-border operations. The two airlines have about 53 routes between the two countries and plenty of connections via Delta's hubs, which expand the airline's coverage of the US market. Aeromexico's been struggling to grow in recent years due to a lack of capacity in Mexico City's airport, especially after the cancellation of Mexico City's Texcoco airport that would have replaced the current airport. So they've been trying to improve their schedules to have more efficient operations, and they've been flying a few flights out of Terminal 1 instead of Terminal 2, where they usually fly from. Aeromexico plans to add flights to Mexico City's new airport that nobody wants to fly to. Can't blame them, the airport's trash. With two routes being Merida and Villahermosa, I bet they're gonna be subsidized because Aeromexico didn't even want to fly there in the first place, and I'm sure those routes are not even gonna be profitable on their own, just saying. The future of the airline is currently mostly based around recovering from the pandemic and getting out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2022, which they have been on since around mid 2020, and it's taken a while because of several controversies among investors. But despite that, Aeromexico hopes to finally be profitable again in 2022. So far, Aeromexico's recovery has been looking good. It's grown 1.4% in 2021 compared to 2019, but international demand was still 20% down. Mexico never closed its borders or it had any restrictions during the pandemic, so its recovery is mostly largely dependent on international demand coming back to 2019 levels. Interjet's collapse was probably another factor that let Aeromexico recover at the rate that it did. Sure, the growth wasn't to the level of Volaris and Viva, but it was still a good recovery if you compare it to other countries' legacy airlines. London Heathrow flights are set to resume in April 2022, while other European flights are meant to have increased frequencies. Mexico City's flights to Tokyo Narita, Barcelona, and Havana have not yet resumed, while Panama City has been terminated, although that market is well served by Copa Airlines. Barcelona is going to be hard to return because of the competition with Emirates to buy Barcelona Mexico City flight. Or Mexico should expect more competition, mainly thanks to the past growth of Polaris and Viva Airbus, and their expansion into South America with new routes from both airlines, as well as Viva Air Colombia adding 4 routes from Colombia. Aeromexico could possibly open up new routes. Some examples could be resuming the routes that were canceled due to the Boeing 737 MAX crisis, such as Belize City, Punta Cana, Liberia, Guayaquil, and Cali. They could also expand in the US once Mexico comes out of Category 2, which they've been on since 2020, such as possibly Boston, New Orleans, Nashville, and maybe other smaller markets such as Corpus Christi, Albuquerque, and others. Other possible routes could be Calgary, Rio de Janeiro, and maybe Rome to replace Alitalia's terminated flight. But Mexico could also try focusing on other airports such as Guadalajara with flights to Bogota and Lima and maybe more flights to the US. And maybe Paris or maybe Air France could fly to Guadalajara instead, as well as maybe Monterrey to Denver and other US cities and probably Bogota. Other possibilities are for smaller Mexican cities such as Querétaro or León to fly to Delta hubs such as Atlanta, while Delta could possibly also add more flights to Mexico. There's the possibility of replacing the Embraer E190 fleet with either the Embraer E2 or the Airbus A220, but they probably won't decide on that until after Aeromexico recovers from Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Maybe more Boeing 737 MAX could be ordered as well to grow their short haul operations. So more routes can be added and more frequencies and capacity could be added on existing routes. And while Aeromexico's future seems to be an uphill battle against the low-cost carriers, it's still quite a stable airline that will most likely hold its status as a very important player in the Mexican aviation. Thanks for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If y'all got any feedback, questions, or any comments, y'all can leave a comment. That's all I got to say, and I'll see y'all later.